All right, welcome everybody to another Metabolic Mentor podcast, where we interview individuals of greatness with harrowing stories of great achievement in life and in health. And today, I have a close personal friend. I have an amazing guest with an incredible story, incredible career, and an amazing message. With over a 26-year career in film, he's also a game and talk show host, and now a celebrity health coach, taking his passions from his illness, trying to deliver it to the world. He's both a great father and health advocate who shows us that you can defy the laws of biological age. My next guest and friend, Cameron Mathison, my brother.
Dude, I'm listening to that, and what comes up for me right away is that so much of that is because of you. In other words, the story, like a story is only great when it has got a good ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ending is completely and totally because of you and your team and everything that I've learned.
And you know what I love about that? It's really the beginning.
Well,
the beginning of us reaching others and changing lives. And that's what we're here to really talk about too. Yeah. Because you are an amazing muse. I think God has put you in a very unique position from your story, which is what I want everyone to get from this today. And so, I kind of want to start a little bit about going back real quick, because I can guarantee you when people watch this, the first thing they do when they look at you is go, privilege, he's had it easy, like he's tall, good looking, like it just works out for those people. I'm not like him. And what I love about your story is it is the exact opposite about that, right? It's the exact opposite. And so if you would, for the watchers and listeners at home, kind of like, let's go back to even being a kid, going through that, and then we'll take it through up until the major health issues that came later.
It's so true, because it feels like I have been, it's like the Instagram version of my life, which people just sort of see the highlights, or the reality. And the reality is I feel like I've been swimming upstream my whole life, So to your point, 2.5 years old, I was diagnosed with a degenerative leg disease, a degenerative bone disease, which called leg calf perthes. And I didn't walk until I was 7 years old. So I walked for a minute, and then I was diagnosed with this degenerative bone disease. And I wore this big metal A-frame brace night and day. I slept with it. I walked with it with a crutch in back and front. My legs were wide. You can think Forrest Gump, but he could walk with his brace. I couldn't. Mine was rigid, a crutch in back, crutch in front. And I lived with that till I was 7 years old. I didn't walk until that point. I learned to walk after that. And even after that, though, I was just riddled with health issues, like immune function issues, and the inability to be strong and have endurance. And, I just battled it, and I fought, and I had incredible determination. And so I played college basketball. But even during that phase of my life, I was always getting sick, Vince. I don't even know if I've told you this. It was literally nonstop strep throat and massive health issues and getting sick all the time. And here I am playing college basketball. And for sure, without a doubt, my inability to develop strong endurance and muscle, and it just was definitely limiting for me. And I never kind of peaked as the way as people sort of projected me to in college basketball. And then I kind of went on, also getting sick often. And then I get into the entertainment industry, and that's when everything went just from
And go ahead and finish that story.
No, I was just everything went, because I needed to sort of fight my genetics and become this lean, healthy, fit, perfect body with modeling and acting. And it wasn't me. It's not it's not where I come from. It's not the stock I come from, to your point, where it's he's this tall, fit guy.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So there's 2 points here. One is that even though you're growing into this person, it's not your emotional home. Your emotional home is still the 7-year-old with the bone disorder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
for sure.
People have a really hard time with that.
Decades.
Yeah, same, right? Because for me, at 7, I got chemical exposure that led to immunosuppression, that led to massive amounts of major strep illnesses over and over. It turned into pandas PANDAS is a rare condition where the immune system gets overactive.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then creates severe OCD. So I was having severe intrusive thoughts, OCD.
So the physical
delusions.
issues led to these like basically emotional and more mental issues in a sense, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I also had emotional trauma in the home because my family was not great early on. And so what I want people to try to understand from this is that I think more people don't realize that neurological issues oftentimes start physiologic from infections, from other chemical exposures, from food exposures. And we don't understand that. So we've identified PANDAS and we think it's a smaller range of people, but that same kind of behavior happens, I think, to millions of people. And then when we start trying to look for anxiety or other things like it's in the head, we're missing the root. And so for me, after I got over the physical health issues in the functional space, I still had to go back and deal with the psychological issues because now it's an independent factor, right? And so one of the things that you pointed out that I think is important is that a lot of people at home, a lot of our beginning health issues are due to genetic weaknesses that lead to immunosuppression. So that's what you had going on.
Big time.
It caused healing issues with your leg, caused a lot of infections. And a lot of people, if they go back, they will remember a time where they got sick a lot and then didn't get sick at all. And when you got into Hollywood at that point, I bet there was a stretch of time that you didn't get sick.
Absolutely, because you're like heightened. But it's so interesting, like hearing you say this, we're like the same person, and like you are too, and the conditions and the details are different. Like our story is different, but the same. And it's unbelievable what you're doing, man. Nice. I just want to say that. I know I'm jumping ahead, but it's it is unbelievable what you're doing because it's so true. Getting to these like the core issues. But yes, there was a period when I got into entertainment. So I went after basketball, and then I got into modeling a little bit just because it was like, whoa, what's up? I travel around. It was amazing. But I was never in like sick shape. Like I was never ripped. I was never definitely never super strong. And then I got into acting through the modeling career, and you're right. It was almost like there was a period where I could get away with, I don't know, my lifestyle until I kind of went a little deep. So tell me more about that.
Once we start experiencing high levels of chronic stress. And so while true, there's like physical stress as a male, which we tend to handle a little bit better in high school, right? Or in college. There's this new science coming out on immunometabolism and IMID, immune-mediated inflammatory diseases. And what we're learning about is that a lot of people have the experience of a period where massive amounts of health issues in terms of illnesses, recurrent illnesses, and then these huge gaps of time, 10 or 20 years, where they don't get fever at all. And that's always when they start the career and they're under chronic stress and they're constantly using energy drinks, like pushing, because what that does is keep you in phase 1 immune function. So your adaptive immune system, which is like your lymphocytes, they'll come back up your innate immune system. And your innate immune system is like dendritic cells and M1 macrophages, and you have weaknesses there. So once you put yourself under chronic stress, the adaptive immune system comes and protects like big brother over little sister. But it's inflammatory, and it leads to the production of senescent cells, and it leads to the production of erratic immune cells that then will go to the sites of inflammation, start to house themselves. And that's how almost all cancer cases, when we look at the histories, they won't get sick for years, and then boom, cancer.
Which is
exactly what happened.
Literally my story.
Yes. So a lot of illness.
Insanity.
So a lot of illness. Do.
But you have no idea, like pounding coffee, like energy drinks, literally staying in that fight or flight state for me through that time, through that period, kept me going, on some, I don't know. I don't know what it did to me, but I thought it kept me going. And then boom, years later, kidney cancer. Yeah.
Which is where things go. So, and I think a lot of people can identify with this though. So now you're in the limelight, and you're coming into your own. The world is starting to be paying attention to you, And you start to feel this, and this happens in lots of areas in fitness. On social media, this happens now. In fitness, this happens now, where you now move into this position where you're being exposed and judged a lot. And you can't control the narrative. You can't control what's going on around you. So it becomes like very easy to focus and try to obsess on one thing. And oftentimes that becomes our food in our bodies, right? And we get in this comparison game. And so we're trying to be the thing because we want to be better, but it also becomes something that we over focus on. So then we over diet or over supplement, or we start making mistakes.
Extremes.
That ends up weakening our body, right? And so we think we're being healthy. This happens to probably 50% of the fitness community, which is why the narrative needs to change about what whole health looks like.
Yeah.
Because people in the pursuit of the best health will destroy their health for the perfect body.
Easily. Like, yes, for sure, man. Like that's literally like my own experience. But also not only my own experience, I see it every day, man. Like I see it every day. These incredible trainers or what, like, quote unquote trainers that obviously have like, a job to do, and they have like an appearance to put out there. Yeah. I was in the gym yesterday and I heard a gym, I was in there training, and I know, I look pretty good. And this trainer was in there. I was just wearing a tank top, whatever, no big deal. And I could hear him talking to somebody loud. And he was like, yeah, I've got a lot of like water retention. And like, I could tell it was total insecurity.
Yeah,
like it was total insecurity. And I'm like, bro, you need to flush out all your fucking...
Yes,
like,
they don't understand. Sensitivity.
And he just came in from doing like a long run.
I know.
And just fucking cardio and calorie restriction.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, just...
So to your point, because I want to leave this in. So just to bring the audience in, what he's saying is that a lot of guys and girls in fitness, because they don't understand like hormones, genetics, gut, they don't understand functional health. The what we think health is X's and O's, like the body's a machine. The body is not a machine. The body is an ecosystem. If it was a machine, then I could give it the exact same input and it would always give me the exact same output. And what we understand about the body is it's way more adaptive than that. It's an ecosystem that requires balance in order to give you an exact output for your input. And therefore, what people don't understand is when they just try to macro calculate and work out their way to exactly where they want to be, they're missing all of these factors that then they end up being stressed, bloated, watery. They're not getting the result that they want.
It works for a little while with some people.
Yes. Yeah. When you're 19 to 25,
yeah, exactly
it's perfect.
Right. Exactly right. But by the way, like it's a recipe for disaster. I can speak firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's so good.
Take me through then going okay, because you're on a lot of like, it's the standard stuff back in the day, like fat burners. I
was on ephedrine, bro.
Yeah, right.
Like that was legal back in the day. day. So I was taking Hydroxycut, which had ephedrine in it, which obviously became illegal later.
Yeah, the good stuff.
I'm like on TV now. I'm on a soap opera. I'm known for the body guy. I'm known for being ripped, which I never was in my life. This is literally against my normal genetics. Like it's not even like, it took a lot of low carb, over time, like, years and years of this. And then eventually it stopped working. You know what I mean? Like eventually that low carb diet and then the ephedra and then whatever it was that I was taking, it just stopped working. So I had to go more extreme. I had to figure out like the next level and like cut calories more and more cardio and et cetera, which I know we can all, relate to on some level. But the difference with me is I wasn't in the fitness community at that time. I was trying to figure this out on my own. I was just an on-camera guy trying to go to extremes to try to figure this out. And I get little bits of benefit from the extremes that I would go to. Eventually carnivore, which I got some benefit from. And I know like a lot of people, can, do pretty well on. But for me at that point, being so stressed out already, I was on a talk show at that time. Like I was already fried. My adrenals were fried. My cortisol was through the roof. Like my gut health was horrible. Like this was not where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And then I met you guys and you basically, you healed my body and started from brought me back down to ground zero.
Yeah.
And then built me up.
Yeah. So what happens is you get to that point and then you find out that you have kidney cancer.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I sort of skipped that whole. Yeah. So basically I'm going through this. I'm on a talk show. I'm hosting a talk show, co-hosting a talk show, and I'm passing out on my way home. I had no energy.
Yeah.
I had zero ability to build muscle. So I'm training, I'm working out.
And this is, can we stop right there?
Yeah.
This is like, so there's probably a period where your body starts acting really funny, and it's usually about a year or 6 months. What I want people to recognize about Cam's story that we all can take away from this is that both men and women can experience lack of optimization in their metabolism. And usually when that starts to happen, you should take note of that. Because if it keeps happening, it's not just your metabolism and your look. On a cellular level, your body's not metabolizing correctly. And when that starts to happen, you can assume you're not metabolizing toxins well, you're not metabolizing hormones well, you're not metabolizing dead cells very well. So like this stuff starts to accrue. This is what we talk about, cellular health and fixing the cell to get well. You're fixing the metabolism. So like when metabolism begins to fall, all disease is metabolic. Therefore, risks begin to rise. Amazing. And boom, that's why you want to fix that in advance, because you can expect in the future. Everyone tells the same story. My body started acting funny, my calories, and I wasn't maintaining.
I was fasting like a madman. I was fasting like crazy every day. I didn't know. I didn't really know how to fast. I was just fasting. And yes, I was doing like quote unquote all the right things, but my metabolism was being downregulated. Yep. My cortisol was through the roof. My thyroid was probably overactive because trying to help out all the systems. Yep. My gut was a mess. My hormones were out of balance, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I just knew what I knew. So I was trying to keep it going. So yeah, I had no muscle mass. I was getting weaker. I was gaining more basically abdominal fat, which was not my thing, through these years. And no energy. And of course, during that time also, I discovered that I had kidney cancer for a lot of that time. So my body wasn't obviously metabolizing toxins and dealing with, detoxification in any way. And through that, I just I hit my ultimate low. Which is when I met Alan, and
Alan,
through you.
Shout out Alan Kress.
Yeah, basically I met Alan through you and through my friend. Yes. And in the first Zoom that I met with Alan Kress, who's my fucking guy, and I love him. I said Vince, right? And he's like, yeah, I know Vince.
Yeah. We were apprenticing at the time, and getting ready to form MMU at the time as well as partners. And shout out Nicole and Alan, have been amazing partners and friends, and we love them. And, and then you got restored to health, which was incredible. We had to go through a really long journey. And that's where it was really interesting because now we do these advanced genetics tests, with the program that we're running with you and all these programs where we can look at what your immune deficiencies are and where you're going to have weak spots under chronic stress. And the 2 gene mutations that you had were the C3, which is the complement system, which will show up as kidney issues or rashes.
Crazy.
And the second one is NOS2. NOS2 means it's much easier for you to get IBS. And if you're going to get infections, most of the infections you were getting as a kid were actually coming through your gut because you have a weakened immune system in your gut, which is why a lot of high-performing men and women, when they're under chronic stress, where do they get their health issues? Their gut. That's where they feel it first, because that's where your immune system gets weak, things start to get in, and that's where inflammation begins to rise, and that's what we call OID, which is really what you were dealing with. An overactive immune system because it wasn't working balanced.
Of course.
So it was having to work overtime, and then it gets stuck in those patterns, and that's when glucose and oxidative stress start to rise, and that's when you're in a no-go zone, and things like cancer and other things happen. And so we had to work through a pretty advanced process of everything. First, opening up your detox pathways.
Yep.
Moving into your gut, bringing back microbiome diversity.
Also balancing and healing hormones as far as obviously sex hormones, but also cortisol, my thyroid, everything was so out of whack. You guys just brought that all back.
And that's
for me, that was, that was such a key for me, is sort of that flush phase.
Yes.
Where, I had to get off coffee, all of that. Alcohol for me at the time was not a thing for sure, but healing and taking those supplements to help flush out my liver, heal my cortisol, my thyroid, like balance my gut issues. And then obviously that we went through a massive kill off phase in my,
and that was your longest
gut.
period of time.
That was my longest period. That was about 6 months.
Yeah.
6 to 8.
What I want people to recognize though in Cam's position is that, and this is many people in the United States today, is like, my hormones are off, my gut's off, like I'm not detoxing, I'm swollen, I'm tired, nothing's working. Where do I start? And that's the miracle of the 4F process, which is now what we have in our company together with Health 360.
Yep.
But also, what we use in train at the university, because there is a systematic way you have to approach that. You cannot just jump to sex hormones. You cannot just jump straight to the gut.
It's so important.
You have to do things in a certain order. Otherwise, you're going to do one or two of the right things and nothing's going to materialize.
Oh my God, it's so true. I got to tell you, like so many people come to me, and obviously with Health 360, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, but now I've become like a certified health coach, and I cannot tell you how unbelievably important it is. I know we don't start necessarily with everybody with the flush, but I wish we could, because it is so unbelievable to heal your body in so many different ways. And then from there, we kind of figure out what else we got to do, whatever. Yeah. But it was the biggest single thing for me to have a shot. All of a sudden, the inflammation flushed out of my body. My liver was like functioning properly and dealing with it. My cortisol, my thyroid was functioning better. My gut was healthier.
Yeah.
And then we were like, from that point, all of a sudden I got tighter and leaner and more energy, like way more energy. And it was the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. I'm telling you right now.
That has everything to do with the sensitivity. People think that hormones and inflammation, they don't realize how that creates issues on the receptor site with sensitivity. That's why when you go to the gym, you don't respond as well. Food doesn't make you feel as good. Hormones don't make you feel as good. You don't feel any of it. You're kind of in a place what we call anhedonia, which is like pleasure deafness. Like I just don't really feel.
Say that one more time for me.
The word's called anhedonia.
And it's a pleasure
deafness. I can't feel anything.
So many people in America are right there.
Right. And so then they lean into attachments rather than real connection and healing. So then what do we find? We find food, scrolling, sex. I mean, that's where we're going to go.
Just little blips.
Of dopamine that I can feel.
But they're tiny little blips. They don't last. They bring you right back down, maybe even lower than you were before.
Right. So that's why most of America is really in this anhedonic, like I can't feel my hormones. I'm not sensitive. So I don't feel connected. I don't feel deep emotion. I don't feel like I'm serving anything. I just feel numbish. And so then I'll just go for the next cheap high because it gives me comfort.
It's all people know.
Dopamine is the comfort hormone. It is the certainty hormone, right? When you take that sip of coffee and you're like, right? It makes me feel okay.
Yeah.
It makes me feel okay. Yeah. I've said this before, Starbucks doesn't sell coffee. They sell certainty.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm smiling and nodding because I'm like an incredibly healthy, dedicated guy who's obsessed with this journey.
Yeah, which is what we're going to get to next.
But I also know that I love my coffee, or I love my, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what I mean?
Like, I'm just being honest.
Just to set the record straight on coffee, setting the record straight.
Yeah.
Now, depending on your source of coffee, and if you're drinking it and dumping all kinds of crap in it, if we take that out,
take all the crap out.
Right. If we take all the crap out, the reality is the research shows long-term use of caffeine and nicotine prevents disease, right? Prevents brain aging or cognitive decline. It's neuroprotective, keeps away metabolic disease. That being said, just like anything, it needs to be cycled to stay sensitive to it. That's just like any hormone. Like if you take a bunch of testosterone, if you take too much for too long, you can't feel it anymore. So we have to stay sensitive to it so it doesn't dysregulate our nervous system, right? And then some people with immunosuppression issues or OID, it's going to start driving a little bit of insulin insensitivity and immune dysregulation.
Yeah.
So because we get really stressed, hyped, we're going, we're using caffeine, we're using this, we're using that, we start sleeping less and less. And caffeine is going to be one of the biggest drivers. But caffeine, the reason in the research that they cannot find the evidence for what's called adrenal fatigue by measuring cortisol levels is because adrenal fatigue is not about cortisol. It's about dopamine. So, and we can't measure dopamine very well.
Right.
That's why neurotransmitter research is limited.
Right.
But cortisol levels can vary. They can be high, but they can be low, and you can feel the same. But cortisol, when stimulated, releases adrenaline. Yep. Adrenaline is a catecholamine, which is in balance with cortisol. So when cortisol gets stimulated, catecholamines release. One of them is norepinephrine and epinephrine, which is adrenaline.
Yep.
Adrenaline and dopamine go hand in hand. So you're releasing dopamine when you're releasing adrenaline. So the reality of where burnout is and what adrenal fatigue is a lack of sensitivity to dopamine. You're in anhedonia. I just feel nothing. And when you feel nothing, that feels like death.
Yes.
Pain feels good compared to nothing.
Of course.
And that's why people that can't feel dopamine are drawn to emotional and physical pain. So they'll get into chaos. They'll watch too much news. They'll get into the fear-based stuff. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the brain, when it doesn't feel it has enough dopamine, is going to get what it needs. And oftentimes it will meet its need using unhealthy things, food, toxic relationships, codependency.
Right.
That's why most of us are addicted to people who are not consistent to us.
Right.
It's in the inconsistency and the dopamine rush of that.
So would you say that it's like up to us to find more healthy and earned dopamine responses? That's one of the reasons that you kind of push cold plunging and like obviously working out and things like that. That will be like an earned dopamine response versus these sort of like, I think theoretically unearned dopamine responses.
The first thing you want to do is flush your body out of all inflammation and calm your nervous system, because that'll stop overstimulating dopamine. It will calm.
And that's like our flush phase.
Yeah, flush phase. And start balancing your life with process and structure. Don't overcommit, don't overdo, try to work on your perfectionism and all the things that are driving you unstable.
Yeah.
Let your body re-regulate, because then the sensitivity will return. We have brain scans that show it takes about 3 to 4 months. That's why that 90 to 120 day period is where incredible things can start to happen.
Yeah.
And then after that, you want to start stimulating dopamine in ways that is healthy, right? That's why the cold plunges, working out, and trying to keep it in general balance.
Sunlight, walking.
Yes.
All these things.
All of that. Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then balancing that, though, we have to offset dopamine with serotonin and oxytocin.
Right.
That's why guys like you who are high performers pushing it all the time, you better make time for connection with people that you really care about.
Right.
And things that like drive you in your greater, we call them the spiritual needs. These two spiritual needs are growth and contribution. So I've got to serve something greater than myself.
Yes.
Right. And I always need to feel like I'm putting myself in a position to grow.
It's incredible how big of a difference that makes. Like,
which is why you have this amazing career right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably one of the most recorded men in history on TV, but yet while you're doing all that, you've been learning from experts for the last really decade now.
Yep.
And your experience and then now your certifications have really put you in a position that you're really knowledgeable, which is why you've also stepped into the health advocate role. I watch you doing interviews and shows all over, bringing awareness, talking about health, and then stepping into launching your business with us called Health 360.
Yeah, it's I mean, to your point, exactly. Like it's literally been just like a projection of my own journey and my own obsession and my own interest. But 1,000%, man, 1,000%, it's all come from that. And like for me, I guess I can say that not one part of it is anything other than me wanting to scream it from the mountaintops.
Yes.
Like I know what doesn't work. I know
and that's
what
the
doesn't
best
work.
certification.
And those things, unfortunately, often work for a little while, but not ultimately, not the long game. And I know, like, I want lasting results. I want lasting benefit. I want longevity. I want all of that. And that I learned from you guys, and I learned from this process, and I learned from being certified. Like that, I know it. Like I know it in my heart. I've been through it. I've got cancer. I've like fallen asleep at the wheel of my way. I've tried to do all the things. And I just want to help people. I just want people to feel better. And they see it in me. They like, you know, they see my transformation. They see my ability at my age of 55 years old to put on muscle finally, even though I haven't been able to do that when I was in my 20s and 30s. And it's like, this is what you got to do, man. But like, you know, obviously the energy, the ability to connect with others, the focus, you know, these are like subtle things. Of course, the aesthetics and the physique and the ability to build muscle, but it's like, I just want to help people.
And that's why you called it 360, because you're realizing through that entire journey, you realize that every part of that journey had a piece of the truth. And that's why you've kind of put together your own process around ours that includes hormones, peptides, diet, testing,
mental health.
Yes.
Like I'm going to record like Health 360 being 360 degrees of health, coming at it from all these sides. You know, we have some major components, some major players. Obviously, we're talking about nutrition and workouts and you know, obviously things like that. But also so many others as far as the testing and understanding. Like we've talked about the genetic testing, but we've also do like incredible gut testing and hormone testing that people don't do, the Dutch test, as well as, you know, blood work, as well as genetic testing.
Yes.
And it's incredible how through time, you know, as we kind of go through this 4F process, how those components can help people so much.
And this is really meant for the feeling overwhelmed, busy individual who can't get their health where they want to, could be on the go all the time, lots of responsibilities. And they're like, how am I going to get this organized? How am I going to get there? And that's why the program's all delivered through a coach walking you step by step, week for week with medical team support to get you where you want to be, because you have to be led. And you can't do it on your own because you won't organize it correctly.
It makes all the difference.
You could know everything you need to know. You can Google till 2 a.m. till you're red in the face. But without the right information organized for you in a breadcrumb process to get you from point A to point B all in one program, people are never going to achieve what you've been able to achieve.
It literally makes all the difference. And I know that because I've tried it all. Like I literally tried for a decade and a half before I met you and your team. And it's just like, it's just gold. It's literally like, I know what doesn't work. I know, like you say, like Googling and trying the next best thing and the next extreme diet and the next extreme workout and all of the things. And you might see some benefit from it for a little while, but ultimately it'll get you in the end, man.
All right, let me get a couple rapid fire questions out of you. What is your peptide stack right now?
Right now, I'm taking NAD and glutathione. Those are my kind of my main go-to. So NAD and glutathione are my kind of regular deals. But right now, I'm also including CJC ipamorelin for like a growth hormone boost. And I do that at night before bed, fasted. I also do a little SS31, which is great for mitochondrial health and a little bit of energy.
Sugar regulation.
And then I also do a little copper peptide. What's that? What's
GKU.
Thank you so much. So I do a little copper peptide that helps my skin, nails, hair, things like that. And that's where I am with peptides at the moment.
And then you're also stacking that with just about what? I think we got you about 120 milligrams testosterone?
Yeah, 120 milligrams of testosterone. And I take a little HCG also to help my, you know, natural production of testosterone. So I don't, you know, sorry, but so that my testicles still kind of like, you know.
Yeah, so for all guys at home.
It's just literally for me. I mean, I don't think it makes a difference, but you know.
You guys should know at home that when you go on testosterone replacement therapy to replace your normal physiologic levels that you used to have, your balls will atrophy. And so one of the things is for fullness purposes and to keep things aesthetically the same. Also, HCG, though, is shown to maybe improve energy and be better for body composition. You'll supplement with HCG because it will stimulate LH, luteinizing hormone, which will induce your balls to produce testosterone, which keeps them fuller. So just a little side note, usually about 250, 500.
And I'm very proud of it. I'll put it out there in the world. I'm a 55-year-old guy. I feel like I'm stronger and healthier and more energy than when I was in my 20s, in my 30s. And that's what I do, a little testosterone, a little HCG to help my natural production, and then my peptide stack as well.
You travel all over. So people who say that they can't do this program, you're living proof that you can.
Yeah, you can.
What is one practical habit you picked up that has had the biggest impact?
Well, so I do a lot of fasting when I travel.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we incorporate is in you know, obviously this 4F system.
Yeah.
Eventually, when we get there, is we incorporate fasting. but your fast is only as good as your feast. So I know if I'm traveling and fasting, I want to make sure that I'm also have some days where I'm really feasting so I don't downregulate that metabolism. So like I incorporate those 24-hour fasts, etc. So I love to do that while I'm traveling because it's so much easier. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to eat the airport food. You don't have to eat the airplane food. You just do like a nice clean water fast, maybe a little bit of black coffee if Vince allows me to.
Yes.
And then also when I travel, I bring my peptides. I bring like some ice packs with some peptides. Yep. I preset them all. I love that. My NAD when I'm on the road, my glutathione when I'm on the road. I literally go, my kids are in school in Europe. Okay. So I'm traveling from Los Angeles to London or Paris. That's a massive time zone change. I bring my NAD and my glutathione, and I swear to you, I have no jet lag.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Coming from a guy that was riddled with jet lag in years past. Yep. So I do things like that. The other thing I try to do is obviously I just try to I enjoy. Like I don't get crazy. Mm-hmm. I try to eat as clean as I can on the road. Mm-hmm. I incorporate fasting while I'm traveling.
Well, that's the point. Because with intermittent fasting, you have your caloric reserve. And if you've generally during the week been following your normal intuitive mimicking process where you're generally staying in ballpark, then you can really almost eat any kind of calories and keep the inflammation low and feel great eating that, provided you've got your gut health back and everything. But that's one of the benefits of when you're traveling. Once your body's healthy, if people try to fast too soon, it's just going to make them feel like trash. Right. But when you've built it back up, traveling with intermittent fasting and then being able to open your diet up to be a little bit more liberal with what you do, is one of the huge keys to feeling good, not feeling like you're stuck in a really frigid process all the time.
Yes.
And it creates hunger for you to get back to following the process once you're done traveling.
And I'm just going to add this real quickly is that I think one of the big misconceptions with fasting is in conjunction with weight loss. And obviously that makes perfect sense. For me, my goal is not weight loss. My goal is to maintain muscle and to build muscle and to be strong and healthy. And so it's absolutely possible to use fasting as a way to actually build muscle as long as you're really aware of the feast, portions. You're eating portions as you're really feasting with nutrient dense, good quality food while you're doing that. And traveling is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So I try to incorporate, I try to do a lot of my fasting and things like that while I'm traveling.
If someone was on the fence about joining the 360 program or joining the 4F system, what would you say to them? I
would say to them that this is long-term results. I say if you're on the fence, if you're looking for a quick fix and something that you're trying to just get quick results, which ultimately will kind of get you in the end and mess you up, I would say this is not your system. This is something that will give you long-term lasting results of energy, inflammation reduction, health, longevity, muscle building. This is honestly something that has changed my life, and you can incorporate for the rest of your life and basically be healthier and happier and stronger than you were in your 20s and younger. So if you're on the fence, just know this is I'm telling you right now, this is what you want for long term.
Cam, I'm so excited to see in the new journey of your career, how many lives you impact, the message that you have, and that people look at you and say, okay, it is possible to have an amazing life, to have some of my best health in my 40s, 50s, and 60s, showing people what's possible, and then giving them the path to actually executing on that. I'm glad to have you on the show. We're going to have you back multiple times. Thank you, brother.
Dude, it's all because of you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
No, I mean, I hate giving you, I don't want to build your ego, dude.
You don't.
But I'm telling you right now, it's all because of you.
Thanks, man.
It's all because of you, and I'm super grateful, and I just want to scream it from the mountaintops and help other people.
Thanks.
So thank you.
Awesome, brother.